So we're going to get this going here. Okay, now the live stream is going, and I think Julia, my intern, is on the call with us. So Julia, as soon as you see the link that's coming up from YouTube, if you could be so kind and drop that into the chat and also the playlist, because we do these once a month, the first Friday of every month. So I'm delighted that you're all here with me. My name is Brenda Meller. I'm your host for today. What I do is I host these meetups every once a month on the first Friday of the month. Today's call is really focused on individuals who are in career transition, job seeking, underemployed, unemployed, or there may be a few of you who came on because you're working but looking. So maybe you've got the Zoom on your phone while you're working from home today. Or maybe you're multitasking. Maybe you're listening to this in playback later. Whatever brings you here, I'm delighted that you're here with us. My name is Brenda Meller. I'm the host. I am an independent LinkedIn coach specializing in LinkedIn. I come from a marketing background, and I started putting these calls together. Actually, it was at the beginning of the pandemic when I started seeing people being let go for no reasons of their own, but just because of what was happening in the world. Companies were consolidating, they were shutting their doors, they were, shortening their operations. And throughout the pandemic, I just started to see that happen. Like, what my business was being impacted. So instead of just waiting for things to come back, I'm like, what can I use to help other people? And we started doing these calls. And we've been doing these calls actually since April of 2020. So we're going on, gosh, we're going to be coming up on 4 years already. We were doing these weekly for a while, and we started shifting to a monthly frequency in August of this past year. So, and during that time, I've also enlisted the help of several individuals, which I deem to be all-stars. And these are people who support others in their career search, their job search, things like that. And I see a handful of them are on the call. If I could ask those individuals to use the raise hand function right now, and I'm going to do that right myself right now. Go into your reactions and click on your raise hand, because these are the all-stars that are going to be helping to answer questions today. And I'll give you an overview of the call in just a minute, but these are the individuals that are going to be helping with that. So here's how we're going to go today. We're going to do it in this order. First, I'm going to ask the all-stars to introduce themselves. These are individuals who specialize in career coaching, and I've invited to come and join me today. After that, I'm going to open up the floor to questions from all of you. So if you do have any questions about your job search, whether it's a resume question, feeling stuck in your job search, an interviewing question, you've been ghosted, what do you do about your job search during the holidays? What do you do if you've been searching for a job for 6 months and you're not finding, like, whatever your questions are, I want you to go into the chat. And what I'd like you to do is just type in the question just like this. And I'm going to use my standard question, do you like coffee? Because it's fast for me to type this in. But just to show you an example, I want you to put the question in all caps, followed by type out the full question. Okay, that will help us so that we can see, and then we can call on you and we can help to answer your questions for today. We're also going to do some success stories. So if you have success stories that you'd like to share, just go into chat and type in the word success in all caps, like I've just done. A success might be, I got a job, not going to see you on these calls anymore. A success might be, hey, I had an interview this week and it went really well, or recruiters are starting to notice me, or I got my resume redone and I'm happy with it. Whatever you deem to be a success on the path of finding a job, we want to hear from you. So go ahead and drop the word success in. And then after we do the all-star introductions, we're going to do Q&A and success stories. And we'll end a little after 11 today. I was thinking about this today. We're going into the final month of the year. Now that we only do these monthly, we might go another 10 or 15 minutes after the hour today. All right, let's do our all-star introductions. First up will be Joey, and on deck will be Mindy.
Thank you, Brenda. Good morning, all. My name is Joey Himmelfarb. I am an individual who helps job seekers learn to sell themselves on the job. I've been a retired salesperson for a while now, and I wrote a book about this concept and this topic. So if I had a bumper sticker, it would say, just be positive as much as you possibly can. And I'm on these calls to help you and to really listen and to make sure that you remain positive and upbeat. If I hear you starting to go down a rabbit hole, I will raise my hand and try to bring you back. But we're here to help you, and we want you to be successful as quickly as possible. Take it on. We'll give it over to Mindy.
Thanks, Joey. Welcome, everyone, and happy Friday. Happy December. Can we believe it's December now? Okay, so we are here to help you. We are resources for you. Feel free to ask any questions that are bugging you. I love to provide information to job seekers. That's what I do. I host a monthly call, free call via Zoom. And this month, our special guest is Rod Cologne, who's going to share special tools that he has developed over many, many years. He calls himself a career strategist. And so if you're looking for those tools, I am going to put the link to register for that event. It's on December 6th. That's next Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern. And you are more than welcome to join and just learn as much as you can. And by the way, it's December. It doesn't mean that you're on vacation from job searching. We're always job searching. We're always networking. We're always learning and growing. And that's what I'll say for today. Sue, on to you.
Thanks, Mindy. Yeah, I'm looking forward to Rod next week. Hi, everyone. I'm Sue Griffey. I'm known as Sue Mentors in the virtual world, and I'm also known as Sue Mentors, the mentor with pom-poms. I have a global mentoring practice, which means I work with people all over the world, from senior to junior, mostly professionals in transition. Although, like all the all-stars, I get all kinds of questions, some of which we refer to each other, which is great. We are here to support you. We are here to give you a realm of different perspectives, because guess what? You are ultimately in charge of your professional development, and we want you to figure out what's going to work best for you in the field you're in the way you're working forward. So you'll hear from several of us each time there's a question or a comment. Thanks a lot. On to you, Ken.
Welcome, everyone. Kenneth Lang here. And this being the holidays, I'm going to stand up for a second and share my holiday sweater. I do this every year. I actually have a holiday party coming up online on December 5th, and I think you have to have fun with this. So I have to thank Brenda very much for inviting me here a while ago. I do some branding for Lee Hecht Harrison, which is an outplacement company. And I've seen a lot of the challenges that people have firsthand, and I offer some suggestions and advice. But one thing I've kind of learned, and this is a big part of job search, is how you portray things. You know, as job seekers, sometimes you're not in the best space. So I think you have to be very constructive and positive about things. That's a big part of it also. Another thing which just rolled out, which is now official, and I hope we talk about it later on, is that LinkedIn has eliminated the number of personalized connection requests you can do a month. They're doing it from like 5 to 15 or whatever the number is. So it's important to know other ways to network. And I think one of the great things about a call like this is that we can all share common practices and what works and what doesn't work. So again, thank you very much, Brenda, for having me here today. And on to Linda.
Hi, everybody. I'm Linda Brubaker, and I'm a careers coach too. And what I do is I work with job seekers in a variety of different ways, but I bring a perspective as a former recruiter, a former headhunter, hiring manager, and a talent acquisition manager. So I'm going to bring those perspectives from a variety of different sides of the desk. And what I'm looking to do is to help you find and leverage your skill set to find that next forever job. Like everyone else, we're here to support you in any way that we can. So ask your questions. I too have a weekly program, and it's a free program on Wednesdays at 11 o'clock. I'm going to put the link into the chat as well. It's a lunch and learn session. And what we're going to be talking about next week is actually resumes, do's and don'ts. Bring all your questions. Please join us. Love to have you there and ask your questions. We're all here to support you. Oh, and by the way, you saw my post yesterday? Still have my blanket?
I was looking at the blanket. I was like, do you have your heat pack on yet?
No.
Oh, no.
Hopefully this afternoon.
Oh.
Oh gosh. I imagine, where are you located in the world? What city are you in, Linda?
Outside of Chicago.
Oh, so you're cold. Yeah, it's like you're probably similar temperatures that we're in here in Michigan right now. Well, any ETA on when it will be coming back?
Well, they thought yesterday the part that they brought wasn't the right one, so we're hoping today.
Oh gosh. Well, we're going to send warm vibes to you, Linda, and hopefully that gets corrected, because I can only imagine what that must be like. So thank you for being on the call here today.
Of course.
All right. So that was fun, huh? We got to meet some of the all-stars that we'll be hearing from today as we do Q&A. I want to ask real quick, I invited Jennifer Spainhauer to join, and I know she's not on video, but she does specialize in career coaching and strategy as well. Jen, if you'd like to unmute yourself, you don't have to be video on if you don't want. I'm putting you on the spot, but if you'd like to unmute yourself and introduce yourself, go ahead. If
Hi
you don't, I'll
there.
move on.
I'm,
Okay, go
I'm
ahead.
keeping myself off video because I literally just walked in the door from a 2-hour round trip drive to take my daughter to school in the suburbs on a rainy Friday morning in Chicago. Linda, I am in Chicago as well, but her school's in the suburbs and we're in the city. So I will come on later visually, but I would like to just say I'm a career empowerment coach. Linda, you and I should talk at some point because I have not gotten into the nitty gritty of resume best practices and some of the things that you specialize in. I really specialize in helping mid-career people think about what they would really love to do next, what the next chapter looks like, or even longer term, if it's some dream job you have that feels unattainable, how do we create a roadmap to get you there over the next 3 to 5 years? And I run a program called 90 Days to What's Next. It's a group coaching program, and we figured that out together. But I'm also going to put into the chat that I'm running a free workshop next week. It's a 5-day workshop, and it's called Reclaim Your Power, Reignite Your Career. So I will share that in the chat later. Thanks, Brenda.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Jen. And thanks for letting me put you on the spot. Okay, so what I'd like to do next, I haven't done this in a while, but what I'd like to do is I just want to go through the participant view real quick. And I just want to say hi to those of you who are joining. So you don't need to speak up. I just want to see who's on with us. So good morning and hello to Mindy, Julia, Joey, Kenneth, Linda, Sue, Adam, Al, Alan, Amanda. Let me put you guys in gallery view as I do this. Amy, Annie, Eric, Becky, nice to see you. Betty, Beth, Charles, Chioma, Christine, Clint, feel free to wave if you want. David B, David M, nice to see you, sir. Debbie, Fahima, Sheena, Gwen, nice to see you. Jen, Jennifer, Joanna, Karen, hey Katie, Laura, Maria, Marlo, Melissa, Meredith, Michael D, Michelle, Mimi, Neil, Nicole, Randy, Rick, Royce, nice to see you, sir. Hey, Sandra, Scott, Sheena, Sophie, Stan, Stephen, Susan, Tina. It says VH. I'm not sure who that is, but nice to see you, Wendy. And then we've got a phone number joining us in as well. Yeah, we do have a big group. And I think part of what's happening right now, I'll be honest, we're getting towards the last month of the year. And I've already had a couple people ask me this question, which is, should I just stop looking? Because it seems like the opportunities are starting to dry up at this point. And I told the person, I said, no, you should not stop looking. While there may be a slowdown in the number of new job postings that are going out right now, there is less competition for people who are looking. And for the recruiters that are looking to fill positions, they are looking to get those positions filled. They're not going to stop and wait for them. Yes, there will be new positions that will be posted again after the first of the year, but you don't want to wait. And I think also, part of what we talk about in these phone calls is that I want it to be like a productive process when you're going through the job search. I don't like the black hole. I'm actually passionate about my hatred of the black hole of job search. And if you have been a job seeker, you know what I'm talking about. If you hate the black hole of job search, you can go ahead and type that in chat. You can use all caps if you want. Get it all out. I hate the black hole because you know what I'm talking about when you apply to job upon job upon job and you don't hear anything back ever. You might get like an automated email every once in a while. And sometimes they even have you send a resume and then fill out the questionnaire and then do this and jump through this hoop and blah, blah, blah. And then you might get a form email. 6 months later, they might say the position has been filled. And you're like, you think? So that's what I mean when I say the black hole, it's like soul sucking and energy crushing. Our goal here on the call is that we've created a safe environment for you, that you have a community of fellow job seekers, that you have a wealth of resources through the all-stars that are here on the call for you. And I want to remind you of the same thing I told this person I was having a conversation with this week. She was applying for a lot of jobs and starting to feel frustrated. And she's on the call. I'm not going to identify who she is, but she'll know when I tell the story. She's applying for jobs, not hearing anything, starting to get frustrated and said, should I stop until January because it's slowing down? And I said, no. And I'm going to tell you the same thing I told her. Here's what I want you to do. Applying for jobs is a necessary evil. I'm sorry it is. I know I hate the black hole and you all hate the black hole. You have to do it though. You have to apply through the job boards, but that should not be the only thing that you're doing. When you're applying for jobs, I want you to think about doing a few additional things. So the first thing is apply through the job board, whatever. The next thing is go and look up that company on LinkedIn. Okay. So look up the company on LinkedIn, and then I want you to follow the company page. Okay. When you follow the company page, scroll down under their About section, and some of the pages now have a button that you can say, I'm interested in working for this company. So you can click on that button and it puts you in a bucket for their recruiters. So as they're posting new jobs, they're going to get candidates who are applying, but they also look at candidates who are indicated they're interested in applying for jobs at the company. So you're going to get put into that bucket. So follow the page. Follow the company page on LinkedIn. If they have the button that says, I'm interested in working for this company, follow that. The next thing I want you to do is scroll up to the top of the page and click on the number of employees. And when you click on that, it'll actually display people who work for the company. I want you to invite maybe 2 to 3 people to invite to connect with. Now, in that invitation, I want to make sure that you're making it not about you and applying for the job, but about them and things that you have in common, or something interesting that you see on their profile. So for example, I might say, hi, Stan, we haven't met yet, but I see that we both work in the engineering community here in Metro Detroit. Let's connect on LinkedIn, Brenda Meller. And then after Stan accepts my invitation, then I would message him back. And here's where I do the soft pitch that I'm looking. Thanks, Stan, for accepting my invitation. I'm starting to look for new positions, and I noticed that your company XYZ is now hiring for engineering managers. Do you have any insight into the hiring process? So you see what I did? I just kind of like opened the door and asked Stan about the job without pushing my resume on him, because he doesn't know who I am. He doesn't owe me anything. I'm just saying, hey, I see that your company is hiring. Do you have any insight into the hiring process? And if Stan is friendly and amicable, he'll probably reply and say, well, I know you need to apply through the jobs board and the process can take 2 to 3 months. He might give you some insights. He might say, actually, we've got an employee referral program, and if they hire you, I get $100. So send me your resume and I'll send, I mean, you might get lucky. You might get someone like that. Now, a couple of these people, they're not going to respond back to you all. And that's okay, because you've invited 2 to 3 people. So that's going to increase your chances that you get moved from the bottom of that resume stack up to the top, or at least that you get some insights into the hiring process. Okay. So again, in addition to applying to the job, and you're continuing to do this throughout the holidays, I want you to look up and follow the company page on LinkedIn. I want you to go into their About section. If there's a button that says, I'm interested in working for the company, click on that button. And then I want you to look up employees and invite 2 to 3 of them to connect. If you want to take it one step further, and one more thing that you could do is add a thoughtful comment to a post on the company page. Not everyone will do that. The larger companies may or may not see you. The smaller companies are definitely going to notice you. And they're going to look at that and go, Lang, why does that name sound familiar? Oh, he applied for the engineering manager job at the company. I'm just using Kenneth hypothetically here. But you can see here how that can help to warm up the situation. And I think also for you, it's really important to think about getting control back. Do you know what I mean? Like the black hole doesn't give you control. You feel like you're out of control in the situation. You're at their whim, at their mercy, right? I want to give you some of that power back as you're going through the job search. So hopefully that helps to inspire you and to get all of you started here. Joey, I see that your hand is raised. Did you want to add something before we move into questions?
I did, Brenda. I just wanted, for the people on this call, I'm going to bet 90% of you heard what Brenda just suggested and were thinking to yourself, not doing that. What a bad idea. It's a waste of time. I would suggest to you, if I may be so bold, stop and think, what a great idea. I'm going to try that. I'm going to see where that leads. Because here's how it works, folks. If you don't do it, nothing's going to happen. If you do it, something might. So you might as well try. You're on these calls, you're unemployed, try something new. So when people give you advice, don't poo-poo it. Immediately think to yourself, what a great idea. I'm going to make a note or two. I'm going to plug along and carry on. So that's all I had to say. Thanks.
I love it. I love when Joey comes in and I'm like, oh, listen to my advice. Why don't you bother coming in today if you're not going to move it? I know what you're saying, Joe. I appreciate that. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to move into some questions, and I'm trying to find my chat panel here. Give me just a second to do so. What would really help me out is if you've asked a question, if you could use the raise hand function and raise your hand. By the way, I forgot even to mention this, but we would like you to introduce yourself in chat. If you haven't already done so, tell us your targeted job title, your targeted geographic area, and then put your LinkedIn URL. I don't know if you knew this or not, but you don't need to say, hi, this is Brenda Meller, because Zoom already says Brenda Meller to everyone. So you don't need to tell us your name. We can already see that, but just tell us targeted job title, targeted geographic area, and LinkedIn URL. That way you can connect with other job seekers who are here on the call, and you can start to build up an amazing community of people who can help to refer positions to you and to support you as well. All right, so like I'm scrolling down in here, I see a question from Clint. Clint is asking, how do you determine if your LinkedIn profile is solid? Clint, are you able to unmute yourself?
Yep, I'm unmuted.
Okay, and would it be okay with you if we visited your profile on LinkedIn as we talk about this?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, Clint, I just say Clint D, but what is your last name?
Dally.
Clint Dally.
Yep.
Okay, and Clint, as I'm pulling up your profile, I'm going to share this on screen in just a second here. Can you remind us what is your targeted job title and your targeted geographic area?
Sure. Targeted job title is Director of Product Management or VP of Product Management, and targeted geography is in the Connecticut area.
Okay, wonderful. Okay. So Clint is saying, how do you know if your profile is solid and supporting a job search here? All right, I'm going to ask my All-Stars if you want to weigh in anything on this. I'll also drop Clint's URL into the chat to make it easy if you want to navigate and go to another window in here. So first thing I'm looking for, Clint, is do you have your job title in your headline? And I do see that you have Senior Product Management Leader as a part of your headline. That's good because that will help you to come up in search results. One suggestion I'm going to give you, Clint, is your headshot photo. I want you to zoom in more on that. I really want your face from the top of your forehead to the bottom of your chin. I want your face to be about 50 to 60% of the circle. And really, we should just be seeing your face and then maybe just a little bit of your shoulders in the photo. So what you can do, and let me show you how to do this from my view, because I can't look at your profile and do it from your view, is you can click on your headshot photo and you can zoom it in. So what you'll do is just click on your photo and then click on view or edit. And then in the lower left-hand corner, click on edit. And then there's this zooming tool and you can just zoom in on it to make it a little bit more zoomed in on there. I'm not going to do that with mine right now, but that would be one thing. And the reason I like to do that, Clint, is that most people aren't looking at your profile from this view. They're seeing you coming up in search results and you can look really tiny if you're zoomed back. I want you to look like the leadership person that you are, and having a zoomed in photo where we can see your face clearly can help to support that leadership type of position. All right, Kenneth is another LinkedIn coach. So Kenneth, do you have any feedback for Clint? Anything that's jumping out at you on his profile?
Yeah, I was actually just looking it up and I'm looking at the about section actually right off the bat. Not the best way to start right off the bat. I mean, all that, you want to market yourself, and Brenda, you're a marketer even much more than me, but you don't want to make a resume-ish in that way. And that's kind of reads exactly how a resume would be. It's like, okay, get my attention because I can't see the rest of it unless I do see more. And it is a great searchable about section, but I want to get your attention. Or rather, I want you to get my attention. So that's kind of my first thought, because I think the profile is really great in that way, but it's just kind of a tweak that I would suggest.
Okay.
And add on to that too, Clint, I like to tell people, most people don't click on see more. So this is all they read. So rather than starting with the contact info, I would probably start with I am a driven, like start with that, and then don't put any line breaks in there. So maximize that real estate that you have in the beginning of that. That's a really good catch, Kenneth. Thank you for that. All right. Do any of the other All-Stars want to offer any feedback to Clint on his profile? I don't see any other hands that are being raised right now. All right, so Clint, let me just see what else I'm looking at inside here. Are you still with NPI or is that a past role?
Past role.
Okay, so in addition, what I might suggest is, I know you've got the open to work, so it's clear to me that you're looking for a job in here. Are you doing any other volunteer work right now? Any consulting? Do you belong to any professional organizations? Is there anything else that we could put in your experience section is what I'm looking for.
Yeah, not right now. I'm focused on getting a job. That's my job.
Getting a job. I hear you. Okay. I see Mindy raised her hand, so we'll go to Mindy next and then Joey.
Okay. Am I unmuted? I don't remember.
You
that.
are. Yep, we can hear you, Mindy. Yep.
Great. Brenda, just scroll down to his skills for a moment. So I'm wondering, Clint, if you know how to order your skills, because
Yes, I do.
you do it. So I see product management is number one, which yes, great. Is product road mapping the next most important skill that you want people to know about?
I think that's part of the profile of requirements for a product management leader is to have product road mapping.
Okay, I just wanted to be sure that you know how to reorder. You have all 50 skills already, and that
Yep.
these should be in order, because you can only see 2 of them, right, before you scroll down. So as long as you know how to reorder, and that is a requirement, then great. Just know that whatever you put in your skills is also reflected in your experience. So
Yeah, that's a good point. So I'm
Right,
going to
so-
scroll back up to experience too, and
Exactly.
we can now link skills to our experience. What I might suggest for you, Clint, is, and I'm following what LinkedIn tells us in the about statement. In the about statement, you can put 5 skills. I would say, maybe just put your top 5 skills in here instead of, I don't know what this is, 10 to 12 of them, because most people aren't going to read the full list. And I think the fewer that you have, the more likely they'll read some of those skills. I
Okay.
haven't seen any data yet, and I don't know if Kenneth or if anyone else on the call has, but I haven't seen any data yet that says the more that you link skills to multiple positions, the more likely it'll come up in searches. I think there's a human element, which is the longer the list is, the less likely we're going to read everything. So if you can put 5 skills, I'll probably read them. But if you put like 10 to 12 or 20, I'm not going to read all of them in there. I don't know if there's any data out there that says different. If I find anything, I'll definitely let you guys know on that. All right, I'm going to move us over to.
Brenda, I'm just gonna.
Oh, go ahead.
Can I just add one thing to that?
Sure. Yeah.
In terms of listing the skills, in many of the job postings, they have required skills for different jobs. And so to counter what you just said, sometimes you need to have that many skills in your experience so that the algorithm sees that you have it, because they will say when you go to a job posting, you have 6 out of the 10 required skills. And so if he eliminates them, I'm concerned that, let's say he has all 10, it may not show up.
Yeah.
Just another point of view.
Okay. Good point. Thank you, Mindy. Joey, what did you want to add?
Can you go to his experience section, Brenda? Thanks. All right. So Clint, it's not about you, it's about them. They don't care about you, they care about themselves. So when they look at your experience, assuming they get that far, they want to know, why is he sharing this information with me? So the first bullet item, if I may be so bold, there isn't a product manager out there or individual out there who couldn't take that bullet and put it on their profile. You're not standing out by writing what you've written. But however, if you go down to the next bullet where you talk about how you reduced open service calls by 40%, now you're differentiating yourself from everybody else. So do what you can to quantify time saved, money made, money saved, efforts reduced, what people managed. Put some numbers in there so that you differentiate yourself from the, if you're lucky, 500 applicants that are out there, right? Because probably more. But you got to differentiate yourself. Quantify the results that you've created so that now people can look at your profile and look at your experience and go, I remember that guy who said he reduced calls by 40%, right? So now you differentiate yourself.
Yeah, thanks. It's on my resume, but I didn't put it on my LinkedIn. So I'll revisit that. Thanks.
Assume, if everybody on the call, assume that everything you write and present to the world, the person reading it is saying to themselves, so what? Why is this person sharing this information with me? How do they stand out? Because if you're just writing bland stuff, you're not standing out.
Thank you. And I have a slightly different approach to when I give job seekers advice on what to put in their experience section, typically the formula I like to use is let's start with a 1 to 2 line description of that company. So just at a high level, if I've never heard of NPI, like tell me what the company is. NPI is a, whatever, manufacturer of letter, and now I see it, parcel sortation cap. So describe that. Second sentence, second paragraph rather, I like to do, as the vice president of business development and customer service, comma, I was responsible for, and then at a high level, tell us what your role was. If anything, if you want to put more at that point, maybe put maybe 3 to 5 bullets focusing in on achievements. But honestly, others might feel different about this, but here's my feeling on it. I would rather have you think about LinkedIn as an appetizer. Your resume is the full meal. So I'd rather tease them with some things, description of the company, high level description of your role, maybe 3 to 5 bullets on achievements, maybe even 3 when I think about it. And then drive them to reach out to you to say, send us your resume to get the rest. Because I think if you give them too much on here, they might say, well, we know enough about him because he's given us everything already. And I want to get them to reach out to you. In addition, I see several people commenting on your activity, Clint, and I want to just add on to that. As a job seeker, here's my advice for all of you. All of you should be posting at minimum once a week. That's the bare minimum. So if you've never posted before, I want to encourage you, post this week. And some people will announce, if you haven't ever done the announcement, letting people know that you're looking for your next job, do an announcement. Yeah, it's bearing your soul a little bit, but what if there was somebody in your network who, if they knew that you were looking for a job, they would help you? And 'tis the season of giving right now on LinkedIn. If you go and you tell people that you're looking for a job, there will be people that will help you. And what I wouldn't do is just say, I'm looking for a job, send me an opportunities, I need to get back to work now. Instead, I would go out and say, if you're not aware, I'm currently in career transition, looking for my next senior leadership role in product management in the Connecticut area. Does that sound familiar? It should, because I just asked Clint when he came on, I said, what's your targeted job title and your targeted geographic area? People have attention spans that are super short. And if you go on and say, I need a job, help me find a job, help me, nobody's going to help you with that. But if you say, hey, I'm looking for a senior product management role in Connecticut or the greater New York City area, now I can spin my mental Rolodex. And I either think about people I know in New York. By the way, Beth Granger is a great coach located in the New York City area. Clint, if you're not already following her, look her up. Beth Granger is her name. I'll ask Julia if she can drop the link in chat, and tell Beth that I sent you, by the way. Anyone can connect with her, but tell her that I sent you. So my mental Rolodex is going, who do I know in the New York City area? And the other side of my mental Rolodex is product management and senior leadership roles. Who do I know that is in a similar type of a role as that? And I see that we both worked for Pitney Bowes once upon a time, Clint. I was in marketing in their Farmington Hills, Michigan branch for a short period of time. I see that you worked at the headquarters in there. But, we have some associations in there. So just wanted to give you that piece of advice. So for you, Clint, and for the others, you should be posting at least once a week on LinkedIn. And if you're comfortable moving to twice a week, then one of those posts can be about an area of expertise. So what you might not know about product leadership is this. Here's my 3 keys to success. Having a team and supporting them every step of the way. Having a superior product and listening to your customers and evolving those products as time goes on. And 3 is understanding the link between your role in the bigger picture of the company and what value you're providing to society. I just made that up, Clint. I don't work in product management, but just to see, you could create something, right, as a post. Does that help you?
Yep. Thank you.
All right. Wonderful. Okay. I think we're going to move us along here. And I saw there were a couple other questions. Julia, the link I'm looking for is for Beth Granger's LinkedIn profile. I just saw her in chat saying which link in there. Okay. So I'm just going to pull a question I saw in here from Jennifer. I'm in between jobs at the moment, ended a contract job in June. What's a good way to spend my time as I job search? Upskill, volunteer, or what should I do? So Jennifer, are you able to unmute yourself? If you are, could you say hi?
Yes, hi.
Okay, so tell us, what are you looking for? Targeted job title and targeted geographic area.
Well, I have been focused mainly on customer success. for about the last year, but I'm sort of contemplating maybe getting out of that. It's so saturated with people right now. But anyway, but yeah, so ending my contract job, I've been trying to decide what is the best way to use my time. So many people say upskill, or others will say don't bother. It really depends on the company you're interviewing with, and the different platforms or technology that they use. So since there will be a gap on my resume, I'm trying to figure out how the best way to handle that.
So let me ask you again. I'm going to ask you the
I'm
question
sorry.
again.
Yep.
Jennifer, what types of jobs are you looking for right now? You told me what you were doing, but you're not really looking for that anymore. So what are you looking for right now?
Well, I'm still, considering, I would still love customer success, but I'm also looking at program manager, operations manager.
And Jennifer, I'm not trying to be hard on you at all. I'm doing this intentionally because getting some clarity on what you're looking for is going to help. I think it's going to help you. It's going to help the rest of us because maybe we're aware of positions that are a good fit for you. And by the way, did you say what geographic area you're looking for?
I'm looking for remote specifically, but I am outside of Chicago, about an hour outside of Chicago.
Okay, but would you be open to working in person in Chicago as well, or are you only looking for remote opportunities?
No, I wouldn't be able to commute into Chicago.
Okay. Would or would not? I'm sorry.
Would not.
Okay, so looking for remote roles in customer service or potentially operations type of role. Did I capture that correctly?
Yes.
Okay, so the question is, while she's in career transition, should she be doing volunteer work, upskills? I want to ask our all-stars, what advice do you have for Jennifer? Joey, I see your hand is raised.
Yes, you should do all those things.
Mhm.
Yes, you should not sit in your cave and wait for somebody to call you. Ain't going to happen. When you're out and about talking to people, and I think what Brenda just put you through is great, because as you meet people and you share what you want to do when you grow up, you can tell them right off the bat what it is that you're trying to accomplish and what you're looking for, because you don't know who those people know. And everybody knows 250 people that you don't know. And it's possible that somebody can help you, but not if you're all over the place. So be specific, be focused. Here's what I want to do. Here's where I want to do it. Right. And then let the universe take it from there.
Thanks.
Jennifer, if I could offer to, I was just looking at your profile and I see that you came from a teaching background. Is that correct?
Yeah, teaching and retail management.
Okay. I have a friend who started a business where it's former teachers and they now are success coaches for parents and for students. I'm going to send you her information just as a point of reference. But I also want to ask our job search all-stars that are on the call. It sounds like what Jennifer is going through is very common for a lot of people going through career transition. Like you're trying to figure out what you want to be next or what you want to be when you grow up, so to speak. So are there tools and resources out there that anyone would suggest to Jennifer that she can go through and do some discovery about potential career paths? And by the way, this question is open to anyone. If you want to drop any links or resources in chat, please do so, because this is not something that's unique to Jennifer. A lot of people go through this. You get out of the job that you really, maybe you're just done with that industry, done with that role. You want to move on to something else, but then it's like, what else do you want to do? And I've been there too. It's like, I'm so burned out from not liking what I did for so long. I don't even know I could figure out what I wanted to do next. So what tools and resources are out there that we can discover? Linda, I saw that you had your hand raised and it went down, but did you want to add something before I go back to Joey?
I appreciate that. So there are a couple things. I'm not a big fan, unlike other people, of some of these career assessments, because I think that they give you some very broad ideas, but they may not necessarily point you in the right directions. You still have to figure out what it is you want to do. So one of the things that I recommend, because we know so many of these skills are transferable, you've got some time right now. Take a look at the job postings that are out there. Just broad base it. See what really speaks to you. And then make yourself a list. A spreadsheet works. Here are some of the titles that seem to interest me. Let me go back and take a look at more. And then take a look at some of the skills that they're looking for, some of the things they're asking you to do. And if you find that all of say 10 of the jobs you're looking at are all using these same skills and you've got them, that's a great place for you to start to concentrate your search. By the same token, if some of those jobs you're looking at are all looking for that same skill set and you don't have it, if you were looking at ways of upskilling, now you've got an idea of what it is you want to look at. So I'm a fan of, especially when you've got some time, just go out and explore. You have nothing to lose.
Great, thank you. And before I go back to you, Joey, I see Jen had her hand raised as well. I hope you don't mind, Joey. Want to give Jen the floor as well. Go ahead, Jen.
Yeah, I'd love to add on to what Linda just suggested. That was a great suggestion, Linda. I have found, because I do work with people who are more in discovery mode, I have found it really interesting to use Chat GPT. So if you start with Linda's step and you get, some jobs that sound of interest to you, one way you can do it is to take something like that and put it into Chat GPT and say, how would my skills transfer? You have to tell Chat GPT a bit about yourself first. It might be even putting in your resume and then putting in a job description and saying, how would my skills translate to this job? Another way to do it is to just put in some of your background and say, what are 10 other careers or paths someone with my skill set could potentially explore? And it is really fun, for one, and informative to what it might be able to say better than you could yourself on how your skills could translate to some of these other areas.
Thank you, Jen. Joey, what did you want to add to that?
I would add great suggestions from everybody. I would add, make a list, make 2 lists of things that you love and things that you hate, things that drive you and bring you energy, and things that suck the life out of you. And this all comes from Marcus Buckingham, put your strengths to work. And it's activities, not people, not places, not things, activities. What do you love to do? What do you hate to do? And in about 15 minutes, you'll see quickly what you love and what you hate. And then you take that information and then you start doing the things that Jen has suggested and that Linda has suggested. And off you go.
All right. Thank you, Joey. I think that's a really great piece of advice too. What do you love and what do you hate? And even related to that, as you're applying for jobs, look at the job posting and think about what appeals to you from the job posting and what would you not like to do from the job posting. Because sometimes it's hard to I love what you're saying, brainstorm it, Joey, but sometimes looking at a blank sheet of paper, that's the hardest thing sometimes. But sometimes it's look at a job posting, look at job postings for jobs you're applying for and think about what do you like? If you want to print them up and highlight them or jot them on a notepad, what do you like? What would you enjoy doing in the job? And what would you not enjoy doing? For example, public speaking, some people are like, oh, I would not want to do that part. For me, I'd be like, oh, I love speaking in front of groups, so think about what do you love and what would you not like doing with that as well.
One more thing, Brenda, if I may, I just thought of something. So for everybody on the call, roadtripnation.com was a program on PBS. I think you can find it on YouTube, I'm sure. But what they did is they had these students from California would travel across the country in RVs in the summer, and they would meet with successful entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, everybody, shape, form, whatever industries, and they would talk to them about their careers. And if you have a blank page in front of you, like Brenda was talking about, and you're looking for inspiration as to things you love and things you hate, watch a couple of episodes of Road Trip Nation and watch these interviews that these students have with these successful people. And you'll find out quickly, these are the things I loathe and these are the things I love. It's fascinating. Sorry.
I love it. Thank you, Joey. All right. So I'm reading through chat and I see Michelle noted. Michelle, looks like you were just laid off very recently. You've applied to hundreds of jobs. You're not hearing anything back. Michelle, are you able to unmute yourself? I know your video off, but are you able to unmute yourself?
Yes, I am.
Hey, how you doing?
Oh, I'm all right.
Good.
So
How
switching
did you
from
hear about
nights
us, Michelle? I was curious. How did you hear about our group?
you were referred to me by David Buck.
Good. Well, we're glad that you found us. I am sorry to hear about your situation. You're not alone. You look around the room, there's a lot of people that are in very similar situations as you. So tell us first, what is your targeted job title and your targeted geographic area?
My targeted job title is Scrum Master.
Mm-hmm.
So want to get into the technical industry and Scrum Master. I recently just, within the last year, completed my both certifications necessary for that. So the Scrum Master and then the Certified Product Owner. So both of those are completed. I live in Battleground, Washington, which is just north of Vancouver. And I'm looking for a remote position.
Okay. All right. And how can we help you? Any specific questions, or is it just about getting the job search going, or what advice are you looking for today?
Well, I've applied for well over 500 jobs, and
Okay.
I actually worked with a company that wrote my resume and my
Great.
cover letter and optimized my LinkedIn profile. And it baffles me that I've applied to well over 400 jobs and have not got a single response.
Okay. So first, Michelle, I'm going to pull up your profile in the background. Would it be okay with you if I shared your profile up on screen?
Absolutely.
Okay. And when I hear people saying, I've had my profile optimized, I'm applying to hundreds of jobs, I'm not hearing, I'm like, okay, something's going on here. Something is not feeling quite right to me. So let's pull it up. Okay, first of all, and I'll say this, I want to be positive and forward reaching when I say things like this. There are people in the world that are really good at writing resumes that dabble in LinkedIn profiles. And there are people that are really good at doing LinkedIn profiles that dabble in resumes. And I typically find that you're not going to be super great in both areas. And I say that with love. I have friends who do both, and I do not do resumes. When I have people approach me for LinkedIn profile rewrites and they say, "Can you also do my resume?" I mean, I probably could cobble it together, but I would really be doing you a disservice because I'm not a professional resume writer. So when I look at your LinkedIn profile and I hear that you've paid somebody to help to optimize your LinkedIn profile, and the first thing I'm noticing is your headline field doesn't have heck of anything really in here. What you're looking for with your headline is something that is going to intrigue people to bring them back to your profile. So thinking about when you come up in search results, when you're posting, when you're commenting, we want to have something that's going to bring people back to your profile. And, starting with even like if recruiters are searching for you, what are they searching for? They're searching for the job title. So you said you're looking for Scrum Master, and what was
Correct.
the other one? Product Manager, was it?
Scrum Master's the primary.
Okay. So you should have in your headline field where it says CSM and CSPO, you should have Scrum Master in there. And then in addition, the headline field is up to 220 characters in total. So I would love for you to add something else in there, whether it's adjectives or a personal mantra or something that helps to differentiate you. Maybe it's the I help statement. I help companies improve their bottom line. I don't know what it is for you, but something in there that's gonna help to humanize your profile. And when people see you coming up in search results, it's gonna get them to click to come back to your profile. Um, so that's the first thing I'm noticing is in on the headline. There's some other things that are kind of jumping out at me too. You've got this graphic that's in the background, and it's better to have something rather than nothing. But I would rather have something that is supporting your area of expertise and your job search than just a piece of artwork that's in the background. So what you might want to do is you can do a search for some of the free stock photography websites. Pexels.com is a good one, PEXELS.com. I'll ask Julia if she can drop the link into chat. Pixabay is another one, PIXABAY, and even Canva.com, CANVA.com. You can create a LinkedIn header, 1584 by 396. Maybe it is the same image, but it says certified Scrum Master as a text overlay on top of it. I want to have something when they land on your profile, it's helping to support your job search. I see that you have as your current employer, Maria Mobley. Can you tell me about that? Is that a current job?
It is well, it's not a current job, but it's a current internship. So she's a Scrum Master and she has personal projects at home for working on not only, her organization at home. She has 3 special needs children and is looking for assistance in having a cleaner work environment and supporting her children's development. And then for the property, she owns a very large property and wants to basically clean up her area. So I have experience I have a associate's in psychology, and it focuses on growth and development of all ages. And then I've been doing housework and uh, industrial, so I can fix just about anything on her property. And then utilizing both Jira and Confluence for taking her projects and um, you learning. I have been learning how to use those systems.
Okay, so I want to share with you another technique that involves LinkedIn profile optimization. And the first thing I said was having a job title, a targeted job title in your headline field is going to help you to come up in more search results. Also, having a current employer is going to help you to come up in more search results. And I know this might feel a bit counterintuitive for those of you who aren't working, don't have an employer. But if you're working in an internship with Maria Mobley, really, it'd be better if she had a company page, because right now the gray avatar identifies it's not a company page. It's not linked to a page on LinkedIn. If she has one, then that will help you to come up in more searches on LinkedIn. But I want to just pause right now because I see Mindy had raised her hand as well as we were talking. So Mindy, did you want to add something to this?
Yes. Can you scroll down to her about section?
Sure.
Hey, Michelle. In addition to everything you're hearing, again, I don't want to come on too hard because I do appreciate whoever was helping you with this, but those first 4 lines in your about section are really important. And to spend time telling people what your name is when they're already on your profile is not helpful. The other thing that I would really recommend is that CSM may not be widely recognized. People may not know that's a Scrum Master. And so spelling out the title of what you're looking for is going to really help you a lot. And then you can always put the CSM in parentheses if you like, but I would definitely put the Scrum Master in there so everyone knows exactly what you're looking for. And you want that first section to really grab you like a hook, right? Because all of this, everything about your LinkedIn profile is your brand. Who are you and what do you do? And so what does the fact that you are a certified Scrum Master, how does that help someone? How can you help somebody to do better, more efficiently, or whatever Scrum Master does? I'm not sure what that does. But
yeah, I was even thinking the same thing. I'm glad that you asked that, Mindy. And I'm sorry, was it Michelle it was Michelle. Michelle, have you ever done a post that says, what is a Scrum Master?
No.
How about doing one of those? Because I kind of know, but I always feel like when I pull into the auto mechanic and they ask the question, they're like, do you have a V6 or a V8? And I always feel a little dumb. And I'm like, I don't know. Should I know that? Like, I feel like the same way about Scrum Master. I feel like I should know what it is, but I don't. So maybe do a post and just say, what is a Scrum Master? You may have heard of this word and maybe you're kind of familiar, but you don't know exactly what it is. Like, here's what a Scrum Master is. And then maybe explain why you chose that as a field and as a path. And then maybe at the bottom of the post, by the way, I'm currently looking for my next position as a Scrum Master. I'm located in Vancouver, but I'm looking for a remote position based anywhere in the US. If you have any insights or leads for me, let me know. What do you think about that, Michelle?
No, that sounds great. This is all extraordinarily useful. I'm
Good.
sitting here and putting little sticky notes of things to change and do.
Good, good. And you said you've applied to almost 500 jobs. That pains me because of the black hole thing I got on a rant about earlier. So in addition to applying the jobs, were you on, Michelle, when I was talking about the other things that you should be doing?
I was.
Okay, good. So start doing that because right now, it's almost like I'm going to use the car analogy again. It's like you're starting a car cold in the morning and trying to drive out fast, and the car's going to like sputter and not go as quickly. Whereas if you start the car and let it warm up for a little bit, you're going to be able to get on your drive about a lot faster. So let's warm up your job search by starting to make connections at the company, by following the company, by engaging on their posts. And I think it's going to do 2 things. One, more importantly, get some human interaction going. 2, I don't want you just pummeling through and applying to job upon job upon job upon job. I want you to slow down the process and start to build up some connections and some visibility for yourself. And that might cause you to be more selective on the jobs that you're applying for as well. But it does concern me, especially if you work with a resume writer and you've applied for 500 jobs and you're not hearing anything back. I want to make sure they're getting your resume too. So you could also add on to the list I gave you earlier, which is outreaching back to the company to check and make sure your resume is being received. If you can find the recruiter's name or email, try that route, or go on the company website, their careers page, see if you can find some contact info. I want to make sure they're getting your resume and that it's not just going out into the ether space out there. Kenneth, I
Right.
see your hand is raised. Did you want to add something?
Well, as a Scrum Master, product owner certified, I can definitely speak to this. First of all, and I put in the chat, you should put a copy of your certificate behind there. You know, we all got these certificates that were certified SPO and certified Scrum Master. That'd be a wonderful visual. And you want a good idea for a post? There are so many people that try to do hybrid versus agile, and they don't do either one well. Or you can talk about agile versus waterfall. You can talk, but put it in fourth grade terms. Because when I tell people what I do, they have no clue. But when I tell them what I do in terms of what my responsibilities are, when I did when I was in job search, they understood it. So you got to dumb it down for people out there. Like you and I could speak the same language and probably drive everyone else crazy. But that doesn't do any good to a lot of the recruiters who also may not know exactly what you are doing anyway. So definitely even do a post about and with your certificate. That's a perfect post. You got two certificates for sure. So that's what I would say.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Kenneth. All right, Michelle, was that helpful for you?
That is helpful. The only other question I have, well, no, two. Is there someone else that you would recommend for them to review my resume? Because to pay for my resume to be written and not get any responses is
Michelle, I'm going to jump in
ridiculous.
right now. We've got several all-stars on the call here today. I'm going to ask if any of the all-stars would be open to looking at Michelle's resume, if you could use chat and let her know that. Sorry, I had a little bit of a cough there. All right. We have two other hands that are raised. So I want to go to David Mills next. Hey, David, how are you doing today?
Great, thanks, Brenda. My question is about target companies. I've heard from several sources you're supposed to or you need to have a list of target companies, and it should be big and growing. I have a bit of a list, but it's only really a few. And I feel if I just, do Google searching and put name like companies in this area, it's kind of a wild goose chase, and it's got to be a better way of doing it.
Okay, so question is, should you have a list of target companies? And if so, should it be a long list or should be a short list? And then what to do with the list also?
And how do you make the list? How do you
How
find
do you
the
make the
companies
list?
you want to
Okay, I'm going
target?
to ask our all-stars if you have any thoughts on creating a list of target companies to go after. Joey, what do you got?
David, you're right. It's daunting and it's too much. And I go back to what everybody's been talking about on this call. Unless you're targeting what you want to do when you grow up, you're wasting your time targeting 500 companies because what you want to do may not match what any of them are offering. So you've got to take a step back and do an assessment, and it takes some time. It's unfortunate, but you know what? You got the time now, right? Make the time and do an assessment of not only yourself, ask your friends and family, maybe who you worked with before, to do almost what's called a SWOT analysis. Let them tell you, David, here's where your strengths are, here's where your weaknesses are, here's what there's some opportunities for you, and here's where the threats are. And then have a couple people, not 10,000, 5 or 6, do it independently, and then come back and collect all those SWOT analyses, if you will, and then you can target 10 companies as opposed to 10,000 because it's daunting.
Yeah, it's not like I'm totally clueless. I mean, I've got a direction.
Okay.
I'm looking towards market research and data analysis.
Okay.
But a lot of the stuff that I see advertised is for people with a lot of experience, a lot of skills, and I'm just trying to kind of get in. So
again, if you're going to chase, you're from Texas, right, David? Is that right?
No, New Hampshire.
New Hampshire. So if you're in New Hampshire, what's the wild look in New Hampshire? A moose? If you're going to chase 3 moose, you're not going to catch any of them, right? Pick one, focus on it, and go get it.
So just pick a company.
2 or 3, because otherwise it's daunting. I
In
think,
other words, I don't want a list of 100 companies. I want 10 that I'm very interested in.
right.
Even if you've already got a list of 100 companies, you just want to like focus on one or two at a time is what I'm hearing Joey say.
Yeah.
You know, like make some effort
Okay.
towards the one that are on your list. Start looking
Yeah.
at them, start researching them, looking at people on LinkedIn, following their pages. You know, that's where I would start.
Mm.
Is that right, Joey? Is that what you're trying to say?
Absolute focus, right?
Yeah.
Focus.
Okay.
Okay.
Because Joey's right. It's overwhelming to be Googling through Lord knows how many companies.
Yeah.
Trying to find
Uh,
out what they do, where they
I'm gonna
are.
keep us moving here. Mindy,
Okay.
did you want to add something to that before we move on to Annie?
Yes, David, you've been looking for a while, and I want you to know that job postings are your best friend. You go to those job postings and you see one or two that you really resonate with. This is something I could do. I have 5 out of the 10 skills they're requesting. Take those job postings and start making lists of companies where you're seeing recurring jobs that are similar to the ones that you're looking for. It may not be perfect, but it's going to help you to really target the companies that have the types of jobs you're looking for. Those job postings are so valuable to you. I would spend some time in there to find your top 10 companies that keep having the similar jobs that you might be interested in having.
You mean job postings on job boards like Indeed and LinkedIn?
I only use LinkedIn, so
Okay.
I like to keep it simple.
All
I
right.
keep it on LinkedIn because then you get to see who you're connected with that you might, there's so many reasons that you can use LinkedIn job postings, right?
Okay,
So
yeah.
you'll see who you're alumni with, you'll see who you're connected to or who your
Mhm.
level connection to.
Yeah.
But you got to target the companies that have the jobs you're really desiring.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right, David, was that helpful for you?
Yes, it was.
Okay, good. Always good to see you. Thank you, sir. All right, we're going to move on to Annie. And as I mentioned earlier, this is our holiday edition because it's in December. So we're going to go a couple minutes over on our call here today. If you do need to drop off, totally understand, but we're going to keep us going here. Annie, you had your hand raised. Did you have a question or something you want to add to the conversation?
Definitely a couple questions. Brenda, first of all, I do want to say though, what a great event. I haven't attended this before. I have had the pleasure of seeing you in other things, but this is a great event. And I'm so grateful that you professionals are sharing your time.
How did you hear about us, Annie? When you say that, I always like, oh, good. I'm glad to hear that. But how did you hear about us?
Well, you and I have met on Innovation Women.
Mm-hmm. So we
So
have
that-
to give a little plug to that group too. It's an organization put together. It's not a speaking bureau, but it's like a membership organization for women speakers. And I'll put a link inside chat here to come and check that out. So I'm so glad that you found us from that, Annie. So how can we help you here today?
So, first question is probably, I don't know if anyone else is in Metro Detroit area, but this will probably go to you more than anyone is, so all of my work experience is on the Canadian side of the border. And I am now green card living on the US side of the border, and I'm having a heck of a time getting any traction. Do you think that when they see Canadian work record, that has an impact? Should I remove the location or?
Good question. So let me stop you right here. I think I found your profile. Are you in Waterford, Michigan? Is that you?
I am.
Okay, do you mind if I share your profile up on screen?
Okay. I know there's a lot of things wrong with it.
You don't want me to, I won't. I'll just have it in the background.
No,
but
you can, because that leads to my next question. But
okay, so honestly, I don't think the Canadian, the fact that you worked in Canada, I don't think that's a big hindrance. I think
okay.
sometimes I'll just be blunt. As a hiring manager who is an American, I have hired through the years, I've hired people who've come from an overseas background. As long as I know that there's not going to be any issues with Green Start or it doesn't need employment
Right.
status or verification or sponsorship, I personally, if you feel like that might be holding you back, I would add it in your about statement. If you're able to, I mean, if you're actively job seeking in career transition and you're able to weave it in there, do that. If not, maybe put it in your cover letter or other places when you're applying for jobs, but to let them know that you have your green card status and you do not require sponsorship or anything to work for any employers. Like, call it out if you feel that that might be a hindrance to people. I want to see if any of the other all-stars have any thoughts on that, because this is just me speaking from my own experience. Joey, did you want to add something to that?
I did, Brenda. First of all, Annie, do you please tell me you use your name somehow, some way in your
I
conversation?
know.
I
I
wanted
know.
to, but I'm like, no, she hears it all. I have a friend, a client, his name is Steve Miller, and he is not that Steve Miller, but yeah, yes, yeah.
I mean, I mean, I'm from New York, man. You have you got to tap into that, right?
I know.
If not, I mean, just what a great name, right? You got to use that if you don't.
Well, I got it from my second husband, who I am married to, and I said to him, "If you ever divorce me, don't expect me to lose this great handle you gave me. I will never
And
give
I'm
it up."
telling you, Annie, you know what? And I talked about this in the call. You've got to differentiate yourself. I mean, this is a golden ticket, right? I would definitely.
So, Joey, that leads me perfectly into my second question,
Yeah.
which is I've kind of got a split personality going on. I'm a solopreneur. I do have business pages associated with my LinkedIn. Does that diminish my professional approach? You know what I mean? Does someone look at that and go, "What the hell? You're doing all this other stuff. I don't want you." Or
Annie,
Let me ask you this, Annie. Let's from the job seeking perspective, what is your targeted job title and targeted geographic area?
Chief of Staff, Detroit, Michigan area.
Okay, so I want to see chief of staff in your headline.
Okay.
Okay. For your business, what are you doing right now? Your self-employed business, what are you doing?
Well, actually, I'm working at a construction company right now, like paid for project manager at a construction company, but it's in Canada and it's making me crazy having to commute.
Are you a contract employee?
No, I'm full time.
Okay, but you're starting to look for a new job.
Yes.
Okay, for something. So do you have to be careful about using LinkedIn to look for a job? Do they know that you're looking?
Yes. I need to be a little cautious.
Okay, so you're kind of going into the category I like to call it using LinkedIn in stealth mode. And it's not like a button or something that you set up stealth mode, like it sounds like, but it's more like how do you make yourself look attractive to hiring managers, to people on LinkedIn that are looking to hire you without throwing any bags off to your current employer on here. And what I would do is, first of all, you want to look like you're a superstar employee for your company. So what I would do if I were you is I would make sure that you're linked to that company page on LinkedIn, the one that you're working for right now. Your banner image should be, if they have like a header image library for that company, use something from their header image library. If they don't, I would get some company branding in the background, maybe the company logo or something in there. And you might say, well, why would I do that? I don't want to work for them anymore. But follow me along here. A hiring manager for a company who sees you on LinkedIn that looks like you're a good engaged employee of your current company. Good engaged employees of companies make good good hires for other companies as well. So making it look like you're a good employee at that company is actually making you more attractive as a candidate, if that makes sense. Okay. And then what I would do in your headline field is I would put your headline as the job title that you hold for that other company, but maybe it's XYZ manager slash operational leader or something that's kind of broadening it into a category without throwing off any red flags. Do you see what I just did there? So it's kind of like it's putting something out there, but then they're not aware that you're looking for a new job. Does that help you, Annie?
It does. I'm concerned. Like, can you use someone's logo like that without their permission?
Well, do they have a header image library? Is it a large company?
No.
Is
No.
it a smaller company? Do they have a
I
company page
doubt
on
they're
LinkedIn?
even on LinkedIn.
Okay, so they're not even on LinkedIn. I mean, you could create your own. That's what I would do. I would go into canva.com. Can you use the logo without their permission? Well, do you have an email address that you're using that's a company email address? I mean, people associate you with the company. If you're
I'm not
nervous
sure
about,
that's a good thing.
yeah, so in this case, I'm going to say if you want to step away from that, then let's use a header image that is reflective of you as a leader in an operations leadership type of a role, or a chief of staff type of a role. So instead of just this color block mosaic thing, I really don't know what that means. Let's use city skyline of downtown Detroit, for example, with
Okay.
buildings in the background. I mean, that might be kind of cool. Like something different that's intentional. When I see city skyline, I think of like, okay, geographically, that's where she's located in the world. And by the way, that's where you're looking for a job too. Would that help?
Yeah, I love that. I love
Okay.
that. That I would feel much more comfortable with than trying to.
Yeah.
It's kind of a strange thing, but
Yeah. All right, awesome. Well, thank you, Annie, for being on the call. Yeah, I recognize your name too. And I just want to give a little suggestion here to you too. I would go out and do a post on LinkedIn. I'm Annie Hall, but not that Annie Hall. Like, why not? Joey says, embrace it. And there are other people on LinkedIn that have celebrity names, and you can do a really fun post about this too. And you don't even have to talk about that you're looking for work or yourself. You don't have to talk about that. Just talk about Annie Hall. And I'm sure this happens to you, Annie. Like, how long do you get into a conversation before somebody says, "Oh, like the movie"? Like, how do people wait, or do they like do it right
oh
away? Or
no, right away, right away.
and like talk about that in the post. No, I'm not that Annie Hall, but my name is Annie Hall. Yes, I get asked that all the time. Yes, I've seen them. Like, what questions do people ask you? And say, and by the way, they usually do this within the first 30 to 30 seconds to a minute of our phone call. The longest anyone's ever gone has been 20 minutes. At the end of the phone call, they finally, but it always happens to me. And then maybe open it up for conversation. Who else do you know on LinkedIn that has a celebrity name? And I'm curious, like maybe we could form a support group because we are not the celebrity, but we have a name that's.
Oh, I love it. I
And
love
like
it.
I said, I know a guy. His name is Steve Miller. He is located in Seattle, Washington. And he's not the rock star Steve Miller, but he's a marketing guy. And I had a discovery call with him. I got to the end of the phone call, the 30-minute call, and I said, "Okay, I gotta ask." So I asked, you asked the same thing I said to you. Your ass is out like Steve Miller, the rock band. He's like, yeah. He's like, you actually did pretty good. You waited 30 minutes. Like usually they say it like right in the beginning of the phone call. And but I think that would make a really fun post and get some great engagement, drive some people to your profile, and bring some new connections to you.
Now, would you do that post as video or text?
What do you feel comfortable with?
Oh, I can do video all day long. I'm over how I look
right?
and how I stand, and I'm good.
Let's ask the audience. Go into
Oh.
chat right now.
Oh.
Should Annie do video or a text post? Go into chat right now and tell her what she should do when she does the Annie post or Annie Hall post. Should she do it on video? A bunch of people are saying
And
both.
then in your video, you can tell people when I park my car, I can
Video?
always walk to the curb from there.
What was
I saved
that?
it down for the movie.
I hear somebody talking, but it's in the distance. So, all right. At any rate, Annie, thank you so much for being on the call. Was this helpful for you?
Yes, yes. The only other thing is how do you manage your other pages? Like, I don't want to look so scattered. That was the only other thing.
I think you got to get clear on what is your primary goal for using LinkedIn. And if your
Okay.
primary goal is to find a new job and you're working but looking, then you need to make yourself look like a really great candidate, but a highly engaged employee on LinkedIn. I think that's what it is.
Fair.
And then
That's
if you're trying to build up your business and you want to be kind of subtle about it, you should have a company page for your business. And maybe it's on your profile, but you really don't talk about it at all. But if people go to the company page, there are posts that will engage them that you could, get some conversation started from there. I could probably go deeper into there, Annie, but we're a bit short on time. So I'll give you that as some starting points. Is that okay?
No, that's wonderful. Thank you for your generous time, everybody. I really appreciate it.
All right. Pleasure having you.
I
Okay, so
gotta go to work.
Yeah, right. I think we're going to start to wrap up. I do want to mention one thing since we're talking about working but looking. If you are on my VIP email list, you got an email from me on November 25th. The title was VIP offer, and I'm looking to speak with people who are working but looking for a new job in 2024 and who are also experience rich, meaning you're age 40 plus, age 50 plus, age 60 plus. I have a program that's called Boot Camp with Brenda. It's an online program teaching you how to use LinkedIn for job search. And I'm going to be doing a slight pivot on the program in 2024, adding in some content specific to people who are working but looking for a new job on LinkedIn. And I want to talk to a few folks before getting that going. So if you are working but looking for a new job or know someone who is, and is using LinkedIn as a platform to find the job, I would love to have a conversation with them. Just send me an email, send it to brenda@mellermarketing.com, and I'll send you some details. I'm kind of screening people in before scheduling the call, so I'll send you some details on that. If you've already gotten the email, there's a survey link, just reply to that and that'll get you into the process. And with that said, I just want to thank you all so much for coming. We're at our last meeting of the year, so I just want to say, happy holidays to all of you. And it's been such a delight working with all of you throughout the year. To my all-stars, thank you guys so much. You are awesome. You make this possible for me to do this week after week after, I should say month after month after month. We've been doing this such a long time, but having you all on the call here really does help out to spread the love and to spread the assistance, so to speak, as well. So thank you to all of you for attending. Thank you to Julia, Joey, Linda, Sue, Michelle, Al, Alan, Amanda, Eric, Becky, Betty, Chioma, Christine, David, Debbie, Fahima, Sheena, Gwen, Jennifer, Joanna, Katie, Kim, Marlo, Melissa, Meredith, Randy, Rick, Royce, Scott, Stan, Steve, Susan, Tina, Vic the Pie Man. Hey, Vic, I didn't see you earlier. Nice to see you here. And Wendy. As of this point in time, I think, was this the last link for 2023, or do you guys have this on your calendar for 2024? Somebody is saying, will there be a new Zoom invitation for 2020? Is it on your calendar? Does it repeat in January? No, it doesn't. Okay, so we're going to have to get a new link out. I think I set that up intentionally because we're going to get a new process in place with a new calendar invite. It will be for the entire year of 2024. I'm evaluating what I'll be doing with my Friday VIP call schedule going into the new year. The job seeker calls will always stay the first Friday of the month because you can see what great turnout we get, what great engagement we get from all of you. So I will be keeping those going throughout 2024. The other Fridays, I'm doing a call for coaches and consultants one week, and then I have a company pages call, a social media managers call. So I'm doing some other topics and I'm kind of reevaluating those. Those will go through March, and then I'll be making some announcements. But the job seeker calls, I have plans to continue. So watch your email for the links and instructions to continue. But in the meantime, mark your calendar because we will be the first Friday of the month from 10 to 11 a.m. Eastern time.